and welcome to Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh, and welcome to year 2021. I am your host, Ryan Wade, as always joined by my compadre, Dr. Tyler Bordick.
Happy New Year, everybody.
And we are here today to give a little caution sign, a bright yellow exclamation point, but more than likely, and actually more than typically, I guess, the sign actually looks like somebody standing on a diving board, but they're diving into a 2.5-foot pool, right? And that is what New Year's resolutions are all about. Yes, is diving headfirst into the kiddie pool with no reckless abandon, let's say.
And believe it or not, that yellow light that Ryan was talking about does not mean speed up.
No, It does not. And so today we want to tell you how to not dive headfirst into the kiddie pool with your health, your fitness, nutrition, just your healthy lifestyle. Right? All right. And so, as everybody knows, a new year, especially this year, brings a lot of new hope, a lot of new dreams and goals and desires. And sometimes we need to take a step back and kind of look down the mountain for a second, see where we're coming from before we start to take the next trek to the summit, yeah? Mm-hmm. And so, instead of just saying this year's going to be a new year, new you, or a new me, right? We kind of just want to build more consistently, right? And small steps done consistently are really what get you that forever healthy lifestyle. And so, today we want to point out what are some of the downfalls or some of the poor goals that people set for themselves. What things can you do to absolutely wreck yourself in your fitness in the new year, and how to start off your new year, new goal with some respect for your body and how to make it just consistent in the long haul. So, Doc, the first thing that we have to talk about is basically, this idea of this is a new year. I've got new big goals, mm-hmm. right? I've got big goals, and what is, what's a word of caution you think towards or moving towards those big goals?
Yeah, so a lot of times, you see with people is they will, let's say, someone in 2020 had the goal to lose like 10 pounds and they didn't get it. And really they only lost like 5 pounds and they gained 20 back after being quarantined and binge eating and drinking and all that other stuff. So, 2021 comes around and so they're like, this year I'm going to do one better. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, okay, well, if you didn't lose 10 pounds last year, why would you set your goal to lose 20 pounds this year? Mm-hmm. Or strength. I mean, strength is a huge one too. Sure. Someone's like, I want to put 10 pounds on, insert lift here. But then last year they only put 5 pounds on because of all the stress they went through. Then this year they're like, I got to make up for lost ground. Let's gain 5 or 15 pounds of strength. Mm-hmm. Well, you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, and if we refer back just a couple episodes now, we talked about the idea of overfunctioning, right? And overfunctioning, basically what Doc's talking about, right? We had the struggle towards losing 10 pounds, right, last year, and we didn't adopt the habits that would get us to the 10 pounds. So what makes us think that we can get to the 20? But for some reason, we're all irrational human beings, right? And we all make miscalculations here and there, and we think that we can do it because, well, we're us, and we can do anything, right? Well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Yeah. And whenever you're fighting your body, sometimes that good fight doesn't end up so well. And so, whenever we're looking, we want to try to avoid this overfunctioning because all it does is lead to burnout, stress out, and fatigue, right? And so the first thing that we can do to avoid this state of, setting these big, hairy, audacious goals that only lead to burnout, right, is basically we want to start to avoid setting goals without boundaries, right? And so a lot of times, these goals, they're not set with an objective kind of outcome in mind, mm-hmm. but they're more subjective and they come from the heart, right? Doc, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So, a lot of times what happens is people will start their goals because, we'll go over this a little bit more, is they get emotional. Okay, so, someone, for instance, is sitting there and they're watching a movie and they watched a Rocky film and they see, Rocky get in shape and he, takes on Clubber Lang and all this, and they jump up and they're like, I want to look like that. And so, they get all inspired, they start going to a boxing gym, they start jumping rope every day, going for a run. And really all that was just an emotional entourage that came with that specific moment in time. Or, let's say they watch a Marvel movie or something like that, and they see, Chris Hemsworth and his like huge transformation. Yeah. And so, they start thinking, I want to look like that. I want to look like Thor. I want that Thor physique. And so that they start going for that, and they don't understand the ramifications and also all the sacrifice that goes into getting that and how unrealistic it is.
Sure. I mean, that's Chris Hemsworth's job, right? Is for him to get the best physique that he possibly can, and not only get the best physique that he possibly can, but get the best physique that he possibly can in as little time as possible, because during the process leading up to, he might be filming something else, right? Mm-hmm. And he might have another role coming on right after he films that one, right? And so they're in an actor's life. And I think a lot of times these body composition goals come from public figures that we see, right? I think that sometimes, we forget that this person is paid to make sacrifices to their body. And they may or may not have gotten there the healthy way, right? And so I think it's something to, we're setting these goals without barriers, that we want to put up the barrier of just like, okay, the barrier is that this is not my job. I'm not going to treat it as such, right?
And I mean, the irony too in this is, if you are a Marvel fan and you went to the Avengers Endgame, you see Thor having this big old beer belly. He's no longer that warrior, that god physique that he had before. And that's a lot of times what does happen in real life is people, they set these big audacious goals. They put everything aside. They're going to achieve that. They're going to sacrifice everything. They're going to, lose all the social aspects of their life, and they're going to contribute just to that. And then what ends up happening is, again, like you said, they burn out. They realize it's not what they thought it would be, and then they end up like Thor in Endgame. So, there we go.
Absolutely. And so, the way that we wanted to start to look and start to, if we could impart any kind of wisdom on you in terms of the goal setting categories, it's that we want to set two kind of different goals when it comes to our health. We want to set some subjective goals, and we want to set some objective goals. Right, Doc? Can you just break down the difference?
So subject is more in the lines of what you intrinsically feel, how you're feeling. So I always say, you definitely want to make a personal development goal in the sense of either your mental health, or you just as a person, giving more, interacting more, whatever, but something internally that drives you. But then there's also objective. And objective, if you want to go to the pool and you want to be that person that whenever they take off their shirt, they get noticed. If you want to make that, great. But also understand why you want to make that your objective goal. If it's to feel more confident, then you have to understand that it's to gain confidence, not to gain attention at the pool.
Sure. And I think, something that we at Inner Strength have been praised for, and I'm not just doing this to toot our own horn, but it's okay, maybe toot. All right. But people regularly tell us that the best thing that we do here is keep them accountable and motivated. And the way that we do that is by taking these subjective goals and adding an element of objectivity to them. Right. And so typically people who come to us, they may want to look better and they may want to lose weight, but primarily they want to just feel better and have more energy, right? And so, here's something you can do at home if you want to start off, on your own and how to kind of track something subjective like this and make it a little bit more objective so that you can continually make more progress. So if your goal is to have more energy or more energy, right? Or feel better, okay? How do we measure having more energy or feeling better? Well, it's really hard, right? But I think the best way that we can do it is that if there's kind of like this sliding scale on a daily basis and there's no way to really measure it, I think the best way that we can do is look at it and say, okay, can I make this a yes or no problem? Right? Okay. And so whenever you wake up every day in January or February, the next 30 days, right? I want you to wake up and ask yourself today, before you start this, what is my baseline of energy? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, am I a 3? Am I a 4? Am I a 1? Right? And then start this fitness journey with these goals and how we're teaching you to implement them into your life. And then every day, just ask yourself again, what was my baseline today? And if it was higher than your starting baseline, it's a plus. And if it's not, then it's a minus, right? And after 30 days, you're gonna have a very nice set of data to show you if you have had more energy or not.
Yeah.
Right?
And honestly, too, again, it kind of goes back to this. Realize there's going to be an emotional factor. And so, for instance, you might gain progress objectively that then will become your subjective goal. So, for instance, we have, a member right now who, her goal was just she wanted to lose weight, she wanted to be there for her grandchildren, she wanted to, have more energy. But again, like Ryan said, what does that even look like? What does more energy look like? You can't really see it. However, the other day, her husband gave her the compliment that, this year I have more energy because you have been able to help me move things around the house, get the house prepped for stuff, do more of like that quote unquote heavy lifting, and it's been very nice for me, and I can definitely see a difference in you. Well, how do you think she felt after that? She felt great. And and now that became a subjective goal that she can now use of having more energy. Yeah. So you might not have all the answers right now, but understand along the way you're going to get those answers as well.
Absolutely. And carrying on with the topic of just like good goal setting, rules, right? Is just whenever we're setting goals, and you probably have heard this somewhere if you've ever listened to anything about goals, is that a really good goal is positive, it's realistic, and it's measurable, right? It's positive, saying that we're not setting a goal to avoid something, right? We were setting a goal to achieve something, right? And realistic, meaning that we're not going to set ourselves up to overfunction and let ourselves down and burn out, right? If it's realistic, it's a few steps from where we are now.
You mean looking like Thor is not realistic?
No, not for me at least. Maybe for you.
Damn it.
And measurable, I think, kind of speaks for itself, is that you should be able to measure it, even if it's objective, right? It's going to be an easy unit of measure. And if it's subjective, find a way to give it a yes or a no and measure over a period of time, right? And so with that in mind, we can also break this down a little bit more. I really like setting a goal such as, so if I'm going to set a positive, realistic, and measurable goal, right? I'm going to say, I want to, and I'm going to use a weight loss example. This doesn't mean that this is what we're all about, but, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? And I've lost more than that before, so it's realistic, right? I want to lose 10 pounds, an average of a pound a week in 10 weeks, right? And so that's positive, realistic, and measurable. But something that we can bring in is the emotional side of it that we were kind of hinting at. Don't make it the whole goal, but use it as additional motivation, right? So I want to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks so that I can blank, right? Always have that reason, because that's really what's driving you to achieve that goal, right? Like if I didn't have a reason for losing 10 pounds, like if my health wasn't in danger, if I wasn't able to do something physically that I used to be able to do or something like that, right? Then I would have no reason for losing the 10 pounds. It would just be an empty goal and I'd have no motivation to get there whatsoever. And I would most definitely not hit that goal, right? So use that motivation behind it. And then on top of that, let's use a short-term goal, a mid-term goal, and a long-term goal to consistently build habits and continue progression moving forward throughout the course of the year, right? So that 10 pounds may be 10 weeks is just short of 3 months. I'd call that a pretty short-term goal, right?
And and that's a lot. We see that a lot with how people fall off, is that they just set this, like, for instance, this is coming up is going to be quote unquote cutting season across like the board, and that's where like people are getting ready for the beach. So by like January, people are trying to get back to the gym, and then whenever March hits, it's like I'm going to get in shape for either this so and so's wedding or for going to the beach or vacation or whatever.
I can't sidebar. Every year, without fail, the second to last week of May, we get 3 to 5 emails saying that I'm going to the beach at the end of June. I need to get in shape. And I say, well, you should have called me in November,
Yeah.
Right? So like...
And that's, and that's exactly it. People have that, again, emotional.
Right.
You know, it hits them that, oh, this wedding's coming up and I'm still sitting on the couch. So, but yeah, and you know, even to get off a weight loss example.
Sure.
As a
Please.
PT. So, if you ever seen the movie Brittany Runs a Marathon, it's actually a very good movie. But it's about, obviously, Brittany, who, well,
runs a marathon.
Yeah. But she is this girl, she is this woman. We're actually getting into a lot of movies today. But Brittany, anyhow, she's this woman who her life is kind of going to crap, and she needs inspiration. She realizes that she's just surrounded with below average people, and she hates her job, blah, blah, blah. So she decides to run a marathon that changes her life. Now, with that, you know, and then there's one part of the movie where Brittany gets hurt, and then it takes her away from being able to train for her marathon, and then her life goes to shambles. So, as a PT, if someone like Brittany were to come into my office, you know, so let's say you had an MCL sprain and you want to get back in the running. Well, once pain goes away, once we can get you going with that within a month, it's going to be, okay, we're going to build this strength. So we want to improve this strength by so-and-so number within the next month. Once we get there, then we can say, okay, now we're going to add on a half mile per week to your running mileage. And we'll do that, and that'll be other short-term goals. With, you know, the semi-long-term goal being that you run a half marathon to kind of get you back to where you need to be. But then the long-term goal can be to train to run a marathon. So these are all very realistic, and it all comes down to the goal that you want to run the marathon. So that's really where you can look at a short to mid-long-term to long-term goal in that aspect from injury.
Sure, absolutely. And so, you know, the main thing here is that we're setting these positive, realistic, measurable, short, middle, and long-term goals with emotional drivers, and we are keeping in mind a balance of lifestyle, right? We talked about early on not going into that over-functioning state, trying to avoid burnout. And so, you know, something to also think about as we move forward is, you know, keeping in mind we're taking in bite-sized chunks on purpose, right? And so in these fitness goals, right, we kind of want to set a set point of where we are, right, and take one step forward, right? So, you know, if I can work out for 15, I think anybody can start with 10 to 15 minutes of just movement. If it's walking, fine, right? And so, you know, your goal, it doesn't sound like a huge goal, but, you know, in a week or 2 weeks, I'd hope that you'd be able to walk 12 minutes, right? And then 15 minutes after a month and so on and so forth, right? Is this incremental period of improvement after we know what our set point is, right? And so with that in mind, we also want to have a mental set point, right? Because I think the biggest thing, and most New Year's resolutions fail after, I don't know, whatever statistic you're looking at, 8 days, 11 days, 13 days, whatever it is, right? Is that people feel really good about starting their New Year's resolution because they're still off for the holidays, typically, right? And so like we have all of our brain power to be able to dedicate to this new healthy lifestyle that we're trying to get into. Sure. But once the stress and of the kids' schedule and work and everything else comes into play, things seem to get derailed a little bit, right? And so something that I think is really important is if whenever you're setting these short, mid, and long-term goals, is that you look at what are the things in your schedule that are not going to change, right? I call them like our sticky appointments or whatever, right? So you're going to work from this time to this time. The kids need to be here on these days and you need to do these things on the weekends. Write those out because you know they're not going anywhere. And if you plan on continuing to improve your health, like you have to work around that, which means you have just, in essence, a more limited amount of time, right? And so I think that's a huge thing when people start to set these goals of they don't keep in mind that their day isn't just this open book, right? And so, you know, I know, you know, I'm a father, you're a father, right? And we both have also in terms of your schedule, like don't forget about your sleep. Okay, because sleep is also very important. If you don't recover after working out, you're gonna get derailed. Okay, you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna get fatigued. And remembering that putting in recovery, like I'm saying, sleep and recovery time is also very important. You have anything on that?
Well, yeah. So to backtrack a little bit, so what Ryan is also referring to is what's called compounding. If you don't know what that is, and compounding is just slowly adding on little bits of a habit at a time. Not to promote anything, but right now, but like a really good book if you don't feel like you're very good in that area is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Great book for that. Anyhow, but yeah, kind of going off that, and what you got to realize too is create somehow of a team effort. So let's say you and your spouse are both into, working out, and you both have like a health goal. So like, for instance, like Nina and I, what we like to do is in the morning is it's my sacred time. I get up before Rhett gets up because that's my time that I can do some meditation, do some positive affirmation, take the dogs on a walk, get my mind up right, get my reading in. So I wake up a little bit early for that. But that's my trade-off because at night when I come home, now it's Nina's time. Mm-hmm. And that's where Nina can get a workout in. So what I do is I take him and Nina gets a workout in. There are some times where Nina's not going to get a workout in until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But I'm proud of her because she does it. And you have to make that sacrifice if that's what you want. But it's not, but here's the thing. People sometimes get this mixed up. They call it a sacrifice. A sacrifice is giving up something and losing it for something else. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really a sacrifice. It's more of investing. You're investing your time to make yourself healthier so that down the road that becomes an asset so that you can spend more time with your family.
Yeah, and you're not even losing that time. You're going to give that time to something, whether it's watching TV, playing with the dog, doing work. Like, you're going to give that time somewhere, right? So it's not an investment. It's not maybe it is an investment, but it's not a sacrifice, right? And it's something that you're just making a conscious decision and that you've made the decision to do that. Right? And all we can do in this life is to make the most of the time that we have. Yeah. If we don't do our best in every moment, every time that we have, all we're going to do is feel let down and miserable. Mm-hmm. Sounds like a really shitty way to live to me.
Yeah, and that's it. And I bring this up as far as sacrifice because I think that's where people get derailed so often. Is they're always like, New Year's comes around, I gotta sacrifice to blah blah blah. And it's like, no, so for instance, here's a good for instance. So, one of our good buddies, Steve, he always says when New Year's comes around that he's going to quit booze because he wants to get healthier. Mm-hmm. And so that's what he's doing. But it's not a sacrifice. Like, he's not sacrificing booze. He's taking that away so that he can get healthier again. And like, that's a true investment because as a parent too, you got to realize like your kids are going to see that and they will start taking up that habit as well. And then childhood obesity doesn't become a thing. Mm-hmm. Your kid will now be more confident to be able to, participate in more things as they start growing up and, they have a better mindset. They're stronger. So, there's just so much more that goes into that.
Yeah, and all of this is to say, don't forget that stress is a real thing, right? Your mental health is important in your ability to be able to progress over the long term, right? And so remembering that you need the time to recover, to sleep, to take in family time. You don't need to sacrifice those things to get the health benefit that you're looking to get out of your fitness journey or your health goal. You're laughing about something.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized a mistake I made, and I knew I made it as soon as I said it, but no big deal.
Okay, anyway.
Shout out to Rob for forgetting his name for a quick second.
He called Rob Steve.
Good job. Name Steve.
Good job. So anyway, the last point I think that we really want to make is that I think people can be steered so wrong in this game we call health. Right, is that, again, you go on Google and whatever you look for, you're going to find, right? And so it all starts with asking better questions to get better answers, and not just asking better questions to get better answers, but asking better questions to the right people for better answers, and not just going to Google or, Barb in HR because she lost 50 pounds last year, right? Well, did Barb keep the 50 pounds off? Like, what are Barb's other qualifications, right? A lot of times we think about, people have had success. They must know what they're doing. Well, I think pretty much you can ask any successful person if they had some help, and there was probably somebody more qualified that helped them, right? And so when we're looking at this, like you've taken the first step. You obviously want to improve your health. You're here listening about it, right? And so you've taken one step forward and kind of reaching out in an element or in a way to some experts who may know what they're talking about, right? And so when you are looking for sources of information, right? We need to find the right reputable information to gather if you choose to go down this path on your own. Doc, what are some really good sources for them?
Oh boy.
So the bodybuilding.com forum is probably not the best place to go, right? Like you can go to any of the major like certification websites like the NSCA or the ACE or the NASM or the, I hate to say it, but even like the national standards for like health and physical activity, not great. But there's something, right?
So so just to start off, like I always say like a credentialed individual is a good place to start. And I know that not all credentialed individuals are great. However, at least they have that background knowledge. But if there's one thing I'm definitely going to say with someone, if you're what to avoid, I should say, is that if there's someone that is so diehard black and white on their opinion on something and they promote something with it, that's probably someone to stay away from.
Yes.
So for instance, if you start following a person who they are diehard keto, and I'm not to pick on keto, but it's just an easy one. Diehard keto fan, no carbs, like that's the way to go. That's how you're going to lose weight. That's how you're going to be healthy. Blah 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 blah. And then they also sell a line of keto supplements. Probably not the best person to listen to. And so that's one thing I would definitely say to avoid.
Yeah, so for example, I was, doing my morning workout and I was listening to a playlist on YouTube a couple days ago, right? And I heard this weight loss guy commercial come on, right?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking
about.
And
this guy, and it sounded like it was going to be like a 10-minute thing and it kept going, right? And so this guy starts talking about, first he hit the emotions, right? And then he hit the benefits of getting healthy. And then he starts talking about, it's a lifestyle kind of thing. And then he starts talking about why cutting out fruits and some vegetables is really good for you. And that's when my bullshit flag went up, right? And I was like, okay, what's this guy got? And of course he's got some kind of supplement, right? With some kind of like training plan that goes along with it, right? And he wants to be this savior for people by telling them to cut out fruits and some vegetables because there's fructose in them, right? And so like, if you don't know anything about this and you've heard this kind of argument before, like fruits and vegetables are very natural, right? They grow from the earth, and the reason why the sugar or the fructose in these fruits and vegetables doesn't have the same effect on our body is because there's an equal amount of naturally occurring like fibers that kind of cancel it out, and so it doesn't have the same effect on our blood sugar and our metabolism and so on and so forth. Like, if somebody's telling you to cut out fruits and vegetables, like, please kindly walk away.
And understand that strawberry Pop-Tarts are not considered a fruit. So
fair. Neither is juice.
Juice is not either.
Anyway,
but really, it comes down to what you should avoid. So another thing, Instagram is a horrible place to get advice from someone, unless you're me. I'm just kidding. But anyhow, if you look on Instagram, there's someone that they constantly are showing their butt, they're constantly in a bikini, constantly have their shirt off, all that stuff. I'm not saying they don't know what they're talking about, but that is their reason to try to get you to come to them because of their physique. And I'm sorry to tell you that most of those fitness models, they get like that a small portion time of the year. They do all of their photo shoots, and then they gain the weight back, or a lot of them are just genetically gifted and they look like that all the time.
Or just extremely unhealthy all the time.
Or all the above.
Right. It could be, right? And so I think something that we're kind of tiptoeing around but not quite hitting is that, a good source of information, a good coach, a good professional, right, is not there to make you feel good. They are there to make you good.
Yes.
right? And so if you're going to somebody and telling them, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z, and they only tell you all the reasons why you can, right? Then why do you need them?
Yeah.
Or they're telling you that you're right the whole time. Why do you need them? Right? It goes for the CEO that has a bunch of yes men that never challenge him. It goes for, the coach who never studies up and only does the things that he's always done because that's the way he's always done them. Right? We are not here to make you feel good. We are here to make you good. And let me tell you, I am hella good at making people not feel like real good, but making them really good. All right. And so what we want for you is to create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle, to lose the weight, to get stronger, to stay out of pain, give you a system that works, that may make you uncomfortable, that may give you some hardship, that may challenge your thoughts and beliefs and stories that you have in your mind about what it takes to get healthy and stay healthy. But the fact of the matter is that a true professional is there to challenge you, right?
Yeah, and as the old tale goes, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Sure.
If you have someone who's sitting there and they're saying that I can make you lose 30 pounds in 1 month, run the other way.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that kind of goes off that is they're trying to make you feel good by giving you false pretense of what you could be. Mm-hmm. Whereas instead of sitting there and being like, listen, this is going to take, I always say, studies have shown that if you take slow progress leads to sustainability in the long run. Again, we go back to compounding. If you slowly lose weight, you will keep it off for the long run. And so that's something else to take into consideration as well.
Sure. And so, as we leave you, let's kind of end you off on this note. A really good place to get started is Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh on Facebook. It just so happens, and let me just say it, the difference between the guy who's selling the keto plan and me who's telling you to go to my Facebook group to get good information is that I'm not selling you anything right now. Yeah. Just go to the Facebook group, make your judgments, and then if you want to go from there, just DM us and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you, challenge your beliefs a little bit and move forward from there. If you want to engage with us, if you want some free stuff, right, go to Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh. We have a free training coming up this month. It is called How to Enter the New Year with Your New Year Goals. This is not the name of it. Don't dive headfirst in the kiddie pool is what it's called. And it's how to enter the new year without breaking yourself. It's exactly what we're talking about today. Doc is going to be there breaking down in much more detail some of the things that we talked about today and a lot more. We also, every month, for at least for the first quarter of this year we have planned out so far, is to go to, we're going to be at the North Fayette Library if you're local here in the airport area of Pittsburgh. Doc's going to be in the airport area, or the North Fayette Township Library. This month he's doing a Mobility for Life workshop. Doc, can you give us the details on that?
Yeah, so really, we're going to be there. We're going to discuss the importance of functional mobility and eliminating stiffness while performing your normal daily activities, such as exercise and activities you already love, and simply playing with your children. And really, this is just a chance for us to show you why mobility and movement is important, little things you can implement into your day, and also just a good routine to have either, on rest days with your workout, or just, again, helping you to understand how important mobility is just with people you love. So,
Doc, what day time?
That will be January 16th, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And when is the workshop in Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free? It is the Tuesday the 26th. I have it written down right there. Tuesday the 26th in Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh on Facebook. All you got to do is go to that group, request to join. Please answer the questions. It helps us help you because we ask you kind of what you're looking to get out of the group. We do create this content, this podcast from those questions. So whenever we see people that just skip the questions, although we do let them in the group, it makes us very sad. And so we want to be able to move forward and help you as much as we possibly can. Last point is that here at Inner Strength, we are doing something that is a little different than the rest of the industry this year. And that is we are picking one health and wellness based local small business in the airport area of Pittsburgh to be our business of the month, for us to support and to be able to help them recover from the nightmare that was 2020 on the health and wellness service industry. And so we can do that by two different ways. One is to attend the benefit workout, which we will host at Inner Strength on the last Saturday of every month in the calendar year of 2020. We'll have two workouts available, one at 9 a.m. and one at 10 a.m. If those spots fill prior to that day, we will also open up one more spot at 8 a.m. and you will get a notification as such. You can do that, donate $20, and we will give 100% of those entry proceeds to the business of the month to be able to support them after the horrible year that was 2020 in the service industry. The second way that you can support a local small business in the airport area of Pittsburgh is that you can accept a free trial to Inner Strength, either in our Rise small group personal training program, where we work on your body composition, help you lose weight, get stronger, be a badass, have fun, lots of dance parties, lots of swearing, but a lot of laughs and just a joy to be around kind of our little group of our little island of misfit toys that comes to our gym and just graces us with their presence every day. Now, if you accept that free trial and you stay around for the year and you're not a gym person like us and you love it and you think that this is way different than any fitness experience you've ever had and you decide to stay on for a membership, we're going to donate a full month of your membership right back to the business of the month for where you got our information from. So you can take either of those. This month in January, we are supporting Element Day Spa in Moon Township. Again, we will have the benefit workout January 30th at 9 and 10 a.m. You can sign up, go into the Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh group and just put benefit workout, and I'll give you the information in there right whenever you do that. For Doc, I am Ryan Wade. Healthy, Fit, and Pain-Free Pittsburgh is brought to you by, who else? Inner Strength, Physio, Fitness, Athletics. Come get healthy, fit, pain-free, do the things you love with the people you love without being afraid of injury, re-injury, or embarrassment. And we will see you on the other side.